Hello, guys. You're welcome to this webinar. My name is Shola Matthew, and I can tell you right now that our guest is actually in the building. Without wasting our time, we'll go into the webinar shortly. All right. Um, some of you already know who our guest is, I'm sure, right? So, um, if you register for this event, definitely you know who the guest is already. But I'm still going to make the formal introduction. But before that, I just want to encourage you guys that please make sure that you take note. All right, and if you have any question, drop them in the comment section. Okay, please let me know if you can hear me. All right, I can see I can hear myself, but let me know if you can hear me as well. All right, drop it in the comment that you can hear me. So make sure that you have your notes pad and pen ready, so that you could take notes, because it's good to hear from people who have gone ahead of us. And also, I want to encourage you to put away every form of distraction. All right, because like you said here, do not apply for the Chevening scholarship until you watch this webinar. All right, until you watch this video. So my name is Shola Matthew. Okay, my name is Shola Matthew, and I am your host for today, of course. And I'm a digital marketer. All right, and I I have been helping people, basically to get digital skills, and this YouTube channel is one of the major places where we've done that, and we have more than 3,500 subscribers at the moment, and we have over 10,000 people in our email list, right? So we're happy, for you guys to be here today. And quickly, I'm going to read out the profile of our guests today. Um, Basically, so Joshua is an education and decent work policy advocate, passionate about positive youth and sustainable community development. He is the executive director of NG Youth SDGs, Network of Youth for Sustainable Initiative, a youth-led civil society organization advocating for meaningful youth engagement in policies and programs that will enable them to lead and thrive. Joshua has a master's in sustainable development from the University of Bradford, courtesy of the Chevening Scholarship. He enjoys reading, singing, and spending quality time with his family. Joshua was awarded the 2022 Young Pace Setter for Africa Development on Africa Day at the United Nations headquarters. So you see, guys, that the person we have is a big name. And I must say that, not apart from all this reading of the profile, all this stuff, this person is my brother. We belong to we call it the Adulam Network, headed by KO. It's called Kola Oyenei. Is one of the top guys, in Nigeria. So we are brothers, and I must say that, to be honest with you, he's a very busy person. But I begged him to come to this platform to say, hey, we need you. And, because he has passion to help people like you, he has decided to actually come on the platform today. So we want to say thank you so much, Joshua. Thank you so much for coming. And we're going to start. So I think you should start by telling us the story, because someone like me, I also applied for the Chevening scholarship like twice. Even though, I wasn't picked, and I realized that eventually that I was trying to do it on my own. But later on, I realized that it's better to have people who have gone ahead of you, so that you can stand a chance. And one of my friends actually eventually did that, even though he got to the last stage and he didn't get it, but he was selected first. Then it was at the interview stage that he didn't go further. But the third time that I was now determined that, hey guys, I was determined that I must get this scholarship. So I spoke with different people, and I began to learn more about it. But that was the time that I also moved to the UK. So so I could not just go ahead with that. But today, guys, that's why I feel the pain of people who have, tried to apply but didn't get a chance to do it, or didn't, get selected. This thing is so painful. But there are some people who are successful, like Joshua here. So thank you so much, Joshua, for coming. So let's start with you, Joshua.
All right, thank you so much, Salam Matthew. Excited to be here, and to be very honest, yeah, I would say that for Chevening is, and just to say that everything I'm saying here are my own personal opinions. They do not in any way represent the opinions of the Chevening scholarship or the FCDO itself. I would first is saying, if you want to do something, there must always be a why. And it could be, is it something that is altruistic to you? Is it that you feel that this is something that I want to do, that is important for everyone, but then I have to take the lead? Or saying I'm just doing this for myself? So that's very important, that clarity. So if you're going to be applying for the if you're going to applying for the Chevening scholarship, if you're doing it for yourself, then it wouldn't be the best platform to do anything. And Chevening's scholarship is the perfect definition of that term. It takes a village, not just to raise the child, but also for an adult to be able to support the village or the community. So that's one thing about the Chevening scholarship program. Why did I decide to apply for the scholarship in 2020? Because that was when I made up my mind I was going to apply. Um, I had earlier in when COVID happened. I run. I founded an organization called the Network of Youth for Sustainable Initiative. It started as an unregistered youth group in 2017. But backstory: before I started this youth movement, during my university days in the University of Lagos in 2013, 2014, thereabout. Um, I, I was selected by the United Nations as one of the young people across the world. About 100 were selected to
Wow.
raise awareness about the Sustainable Development Goals,
Hmm.
just asking young people under the age of 30, what kind of a world do you want by the year 2030? And this was as far back as 2013, asking what kind of a world you want by 2030. And I went around the University of Lagos community, asking people in my department in Jaja, because that was where my hall of residence. If anyone knows University of Lagos, well, so it's like a really big community. I'm not like, oh, the world we want is a world that there's no poverty, a world where everybody goes to school, where there's no hunger, where there's peace. And this was actually the journey of my own advocacy. So from 2013, I've been talking about a better world, talking about how Nigeria can take leadership. And prior to this was also the Millennium Development Goals. So by 2015, when the SDGs came about, I told myself that one of the things I'm going to be doing is raising awareness about the SDGs and demanding for youth action in the SDGs in Nigeria. And I had my NYC in like 2016, and when I was done during my NYC, I worked on talked about the SDGs. I was a core member going to communities in Kogi State, talking about the SDGs, teaching schools, hosting competitions. So after NYC, now the next thing was, what do I want to do next? I had to get a job, so I started working. And when I got that job, I started this youth movement in 2017, and bringing young people together around the SDGs, just having like conversations. What kind of a world do we want? How can we take that action? Now, so that's where the idea of the Nigeria Youth SDGs Network started in 2017. And fast forward to 2020, so I moved on from my first job to working in an energy conglomerate, and they were also working on the SDGs. And But by 2019, I wasn't happy with what I was doing because it was moving away from my core focus, which is around young people, youth leadership, and the organization wasn't doing that anymore. They were concentrating on something different. So I left in December of 2019 and to start something in 2020, and then COVID happened.
Mhm.
And when it happened, it was a big shocker for me, and I didn't know what to do. I'd gotten a job that was signed up like a consultancy that was paying me almost times four of what I was earning in the other organization that I left. And then with COVID in 3 months, the company ran out of money because of the pandemic and everything. So I became jobless. So this was me. I had this big plan. With this job, I'm earning times four. I know it looks somehow, but I'm earning times four, and I'll be able to get married, settle my family, buy a house, buy a car, start traveling. Then COVID happened,
Hmm.
and now so with that
That must be
was
tough.
yeah, it was really tough. It was tough for me. So with that, I started thinking, what can we do? We as young Nigerians, COVID has happened. Our government is not making any plans for young people when it comes to palliatives and the likes. So that was how with the Nigerian Youth SDGs, we had like 74 champions, and then we had this offer from the United Nations to influence the government policy around decent work for young Nigerians. And
Hmm.
this was how I led a movement. The movement, we with 74 young people from across Nigeria, were able to mobilize 213,000 young people across Nigeria, asking them what's your decent work aspiration, how do you want policymakers to help you. And when we did that, many people were sharing their plans. They signed up to surveys and the likes. And then we work with about 850 youth organizations around this. And with everything, it was really influential. We're able to have meetings. I had meetings with the UN Deputy Secretary General, Amina Mohammed. I had meetings with the Minister of Youth and Sport, high level people in Nigeria, just talking about this. And in that time, I told myself, I said, if I could do this with just a bachelor's, what would I do with a master's?
Hmm.
So, so,
Hmm.
and I'm like, what kind of a master's would help me to continue this amazing work in Nigeria? And how's how I was able to streamline everything. And I said the best vehicle to move forward as a leader is the Chevening platform.
Mhm.
So that was how I applied for the Chevening scholarship in November of 2020. And I didn't know until August of 2021 that I was selected
Wow.
for the scholarship.
So
So
you
it was
applied just once.
what did you say?
So you applied once.
Yeah, I applied once and I
Wow,
got
that's
selected.
incredible.
Yeah. And what I would say is that it was also because I knew what I wanted.
Hmm.
And that's why I started by saying that sometimes when you want to do some things, you need a community, you need people, and if you really want to go with people, if you want to help people, the best way to go is via the Chevening scholarship. I'm not saying other platforms will not. Scholarship platforms are not okay; they are really great, but for this, it remains you have that personal commitment to continue working in your community.
Yeah.
Even when I was doing my masters, my work in Nigeria never stopped
Hmm.
because I was fueled. I knew that if I kept doing this, putting up this, working with young people, we can change the landscape when it comes to youth leadership in sustainable development. But that's not what we are here to talk about. We are here to talk about um, getting people ready for those who want to apply for the Chevening scholarship program. And yeah, so that's my
Thank you.
story.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that story. In fact, I'm inspired by that. When I started, actually, there are a lot of people who um were doing. I mean, they're still doing amazing stuff, especially in their communities. But one, they don't know about this scholarship. Two, they don't know how to apply. So that is what that is one of the reasons I've brought you here, so that you can tell us, of course. for people who are here, it means that you have an idea of what the Chevening scholarship might be about, but maybe you'll be able to tell us more. And then you'll now tell us, like, how were you able to successfully, apply and win, so basically sharing your strategies on how to win. I understand. I think the Chevening scholarship opened application in September and is going to close this November. I mean, this coming November. So, and that is the way it usually opens every year. So, I want you to, share what is it in your own perspective. What is the Chevening scholarship, and what are the winning strategies? What do you need to do to be able to win, or what have you done? Because you might not be able to tell that this is what exactly somebody will be able to do, but what did you do, to win the scholarship, so that other people can also learn as well? Thank you.
All right, great. Happy to do this a lot. And I would always say this thing that if you're applying for the Chevening scholarship for yourself,
Hmm.
you would not get it.
Hmm.
I'll say it again. If you're applying because of myself, my ambition, what I
Or
want
you
to do
want to
in
japa?
life, yeah, you would not get it. Basically,
Hmm.
the Chevening scholarship is the UK's investment in future leaders.
Hmm.
And so, what this means is that we're investing in you because we know that you are going to use this investment to develop your community. We know that you're going to use this investment to impact your country. And that is also why when you go through these questions that they ask, they are not asking you, what did you finish with school with? They don't want to know. All they care about is your motivation. Why?
Hmm.
Why Chevening? You would always see it in the application. They would ask you why. Why not other scholarship programs? Why this one? So if you are someone that you know that I am a future leader, I have the potential to
Hmm.
invest in the development of my community. I have the potential to support Nigeria to be a better country. Then Chevening is that platform for you. And first is the usual eligibility criteria that says that you need to have 2 years of work experience, and these two
Hmm.
years of work experience is really vital. Why? It's vital because they believe that with 2 years of work experience, you already know what you want to do with your life, at least over the next 5 years. So it's not for somebody who is just fresh out of the university. You know, some people just finish university and then they're like, after my BSc, I want to get my MSc. No,
Hmm.
they want you to know that I know what I want to be doing over the next 5 years. And if I know what I'm going to be doing over the next 5 years, I should know how it falls into the next 10 years, which is about personal preparation for you as a person. So prepare yourself, know what you want to do. There are some people that um you are done with university, you're even unsure of what you really want, the contributions you want to make in this world. So the Chevening scholarship eligibility criteria of 2 years is important. In fact, for last year, about 70% of the total people who registered for this, who applied, that did not make it was because they did not have these 2 years work
Experience.
experience.
Hmm.
Yeah. So having that 2 years work experience is vital. And I would say that your NYC can always be 1 year of your work experience. Your volunteering, whether in the church, whether it's in the mosque, in your community with one NGO, with anything that could also serve as a as experiences. So it has to be 2 years because they would ask you, if you work in this place, how many hours did you work?
Hmm.
So if you worked maybe 20 hours a week or 10 hours a week or 10 hours a month, they'll multiply it. So everything will now lead up to that 2 years of work experience that is important for the scholarship program.
Hmm. Amazing. So the first thing that's very vital is to get experience. So before we move on, you mentioned that people could NYC first is the experience. Then you also mentioned that when people volunteer or work with their church or mosques, it's also part of the experience. So basically, when they get this experience, because I understand that when I was applying them to, they'll ask how many hours, then they'll calculate
Yeah,
it up to 2 years plus. So,
yeah.
but for someone who just graduated, like who just did NYC, maybe he has been work. For example, maybe when the person was in school, the person was volunteering as it could be maybe all of these what's the name of these clubs in the schools. Maybe you are the president, or you have been going out to do some work. uh, that would also count as experience, right?
Yeah, that would also count as experience, but it's also technical.
Mm,
Which will now which will now depend on whoever is reviewing you, because
mm.
you now need to be able to show consistency that you really know what you want to do.
Wow.
Because yes, that's work experience, but now knowing what you want to do based on the way that you answer the questions, even as much as the choice of your institution and the course of study, will now determine if that's your work experience while you were in the university is okay or not.
Hmm. So consistency with your work is very, very key. So I,
Yeah.
I have a question here before we continue. I know it's not a question, but I want people to. So if you guys have any question as you're listening, please just drop them so that we can just deal with these questions as we go by. So don't leave them to the end because we don't have so much time to for that. So someone says, "What of ONDHND? What do you have any thoughts on that?"
Yeah. So with I know someone who was in my set that had that had this HND, and the person got in. So it's not, again, it's about a higher institution degree, and the highest that is equivalent to a bachelor's is the HND. I'm not sure OND will take you there. It has to be
Mm,
HND because it's higher. It's a higher degree to the OND. So yes, if you have that, you are good to go. The tricky part would now be the institution that you're applying to, because Chevening is so funny. You have to deal with Chevening's eligibility criteria first,
mhm.
and then you also have to deal with the eligibility criteria of the institutions
In
that you are going to.
institutions. Mm.
So there have been people who got the Chevening scholarship basically, but they did not meet the
Hmm.
eligibility of their choice of institution. So they will give you time to see if you can get other institutions that will take you. But if it's not possible, you have to forfeit the scholarship.
Oh my God.
So you fulfill that one. Yes, I've seen. There was a case in 2019 of someone who got a scholarship but did not get a university placement, a university offer, and they had to forfeit the scholarship.
Wow. Like Yoruba people in Africa will say, the person that has head does not have
Mhm.
cap, and the person that have cap might not have head.
As in, it
When
is
I
at that
applied for my
time.
own, then yeah,
Yeah.
I got three three admissions with three different universities, but I didn't get scholarship. Somebody got scholarship, but they couldn't get admission. Imagine that we could see ourselves and say, okay, let's exchange.
Exactly.
All right. So, like he said, Fikayomi, who asked the question, he said that he knows of someone who has HND, but is not so sure of the person with OND. So, if you have an HND, it's better. But I would also say that you can find out more on the website, and don't say because you don't have HND do not apply, because sometimes these things, miracle can happen. It's just that something is better to follow the due process. But especially if you have a very good impact, I believe that with your maybe especially HND, then you should be able to get in. So moving on quickly, I want you to share, like, because I know that one of the major plays that usually affect the Chevening scholarship is the essay, especially now that we even have things like chat GBT, but what are your thoughts? Like, first, let's talk about how you were able to apply. What are the things you wrote in your essay? Now, I understand that, of course, people are not to copy. You're not even sharing your own essay here right now. But what are the elements that you put in your essay that you think made you successful with the Chevening?
All right, great. Just to say that Every essays are different, and
Mm,
it's just understanding this concept of the UK education system. So when you're applying for Chevening scholarship, you are not just applying to the scholarship, you are also applying to you're applying with the rules that govern education system in the UK.
mm,
So if you are the reasons why there are essays is because for the UK educational system, to show that you have UK education, one of the tests of knowledge is your ability to write essays.
mm,
So you could write 5,000 word essays, 15,000 word essays. So if in your application process, if you are not able to show that you can correctly answer a question using 500 words, then the UK education system is not for you.
mm, mm,
So
mm.
that's something that most people do not know. They just apply without asking what's the bigger context beyond this UK system. What's the beyond the scholarship? What's the UK education about? Because when you apply, you're applying to the school. And Chevening also want to make sure that whoever they are presenting to the school is someone that would meet the criteria for a UK education. And it's so funny that even on there's this website called gov.uk, um, which whatever thing, anything that you're looking for, as long as the UK is concerned, whether it's employment, whether it's education, consultancy, housing, anything you're looking for is on that site. It's like, as we say, people cliche, it is there.
Yeah.
Any question you have, the answer is there. So that is what they use. So when you're answering your essays, the UK would tell you that always use something called the STAR method.
Mm,
So it's an open, when they say you're an open exam, that's how they will tell you, even their government will tell you that when you are doing anything, use the STAR method because the STAR method, the S is for the situation and
mm,
the T is for the task. Then when you talk about situation, your situation is saying what happened, where were you in that made you want to do something. Then the task will now go about saying, what did you now do?
mm,
What did you do? What was the task? What do you need to do? Then the A is approach. How did you go about it? And then the R is actually your results.
results.
So that result is really very important because you need to be able to show it. And then I've seen some people online now, Nigerians, as you know, would always go the extra mile. They now put the L and
Hmm.
say your lesson.
Lesson. Hmm.
Meanwhile, meanwhile, with the UK, the results in your results, you should be able to say your lesson because
Okay.
your results you can miss it. So what did you learn? So that nobody will be able to go through that same process. So your situation is, and I'll give a very good example. So like what happened when COVID with Nigeria not giving out palliatives to young people, not asking how can they support the decent work aspirations of young people. So typically what I would have said was, if I'm going to say what's the situation was that with COVID, um, a lot of young Nigerians were stranded.
Hmm.
People were out of school, unable to learn. They were frustrated. Those who were employed became suddenly unemployed, and there was this fear, this uncertainty about the future. So that's the situation. That was what happened. And what was the task? The task was, how can we create this sense of hope even in the midst of this difficult situation? What did I now do? What I did was I identified 74 young people across Nigeria who were thinking just the way I was thinking, who wanted to make a difference.
Hmm.
And we decided to come up with a plan to ask young Nigerians, what is your decent work aspiration? How do you want policymakers in Nigeria to support you. And we had surveys, we had online surveys, in-person surveys, people were responding. And to this, we brought 850 youth organizations across the 36 states of Nigeria together around this same plan.
Mm.
So what was the result? The result was that we were able to get these young people say that their decent work aspiration was to be able to get some kind of support from government that will meet their needs. They said their decent work aspiration was, some of them who were interested in agriculture said they will want a lot of support from government when it comes to um, playing in the agricultural value chain. The result was that a lot of young people had this sense of optimism that if policymakers in Nigeria meet their decent work aspiration, then they know that Nigeria cares for them.
Mm.
Apart from that, was also the fact that the Nigerian government adopted the the results from our work and created and it influenced a policy document called the Nigerian Youth Employment Action Plan. Before we went on this work, the last time the Nigerian Youth Employment Action Plan was worked on was in the year 2010. So
Wow.
with our activism, the Nigerian government reactivated this plan and it was launched in September 2021,
Mm.
saying that they are going to create 3.7 million jobs for young people over the next between 2021 and 2024. Then I could also share my learnings and say one of the things I learned from this process is that beyond just influencing governments to act is the monitoring and evaluation of how government goes about the action. That's
Mm.
something I've learned. Another thing I've learned is that young Nigerians have a voice. All we just need to be able to do is bring everybody together towards one team
Mm.
and we can all
That's
stand.
deep. Mm.
So this is me using the STAR method. And it's the STAR method, no matter where you use it, is the same thing. Because you need to be able to say the journey. What was the task? Sorry, what was the situation? What was the task? What was the approach? What was the result? And if you can do that really well in your essay writing,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to do well. So, for instance, in the essays, they would ask you questions around how do you go about networking? You need to use the STAR method.
That method.
Yes, to give you an example, because the funny
Mm-hmm.
part about the STAR method is it's not about what other people did, it's about what you did.
Mm.
So whether it's in a company, whether you are volunteering somewhere, you need to talk about what I did. And it's not about that you are bragging. It's just showing who did the work. So for instance, what can I use? What other example can I use? Maybe in a office space. Um, okay, let's also use the idea of COVID, and this time around you are in an office and everybody's working remotely. COVID
Mm.
has died down, but you can see that the passion for work, many people were not contributing so much because they are not in the office. So that's a situation. So it's not for you to now say, what did I do? And in being able to do that is understanding what the scenario is. The fact that a lot of people are working remotely, and this is actually affecting the growth of the organization because not so many people were contributing as they need to because they were working remotely. You've seen this area whereby people are having like two, three different jobs and they are not being effective. So
Yeah.
what would you do in this case? So for me, what I would say is after analyzing this scenario, and probably I would say one of the things I would subscribe to is what I told the organization or what I told my manager to do is create an avenue whereby we could have every hour or 2 hours check in on what everyone is doing. So this is me. I mentioning what I am going to propose. So in whatever you do when you are answering this question, you need to use that position of I said this, I did this, not we
Hmm.
said no. That I
Because
is important.
sorry. You see, before I used to think maybe that's one of the reasons, that I was not able to get it. I used to think that, in Nigeria, when we want to be humble, we'll say, we did this stuff. We, so you must use the I.
Yeah,
The first, is it called first, singular, whatever? So you
I
have to
think
use
first
it.
person singular.
That's a new knowledge. Wow.
Yeah, you need to do that. The reason why is that we need to be sure personal leadership is important in our world today. And there's a tendency that a lot of people will claim the work that is being done by someone under
Hmm.
the we. And it's
Hmm.
so funny because the way you approach one question would also determine how you go about answering the second question. So using your I did this. Um, my manager and I found out that. So that's you. Even if at the
Hmm.
end of the day it's your manager that did the presentation, say it. I worked on the presentation which my manager shared with the board of the organization.
Hmm.
So that way, it's not about being humble. It's just saying who did the work.
Hmm.
And in 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 an organization, when everybody is doing the work, we need to find out who is the person that we need to acknowledge for a job well done. There are always people like that. So some people say, "Oh, I don't talk too much." Even those who don't talk too much, they do the work. You need to find a way to be able to share what your own personal contribution to the organization's success is. And this is something that Chevening wants you to be able to do. The application will say Chevening is looking for leaders. Leaders are people that step up when other people are wondering what to do. And they are not doing it because um, they want to show. They are doing it because they know that it's the right thing. So using that I did this, I noticed this, I went here, all of these things. And then you also need to show curiosity, personal leadership in how you approach your essay. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So using the star approach now, let me just use an example. Just maybe I'll be able to get it as well. For example, now the star you said S stands for situation, T stands for task, A stands for action, or um, I
What
think
how you approached it, yeah.
yes,
Your action
approach.
or your
Then
approach.
the R stands for result. So for instance now, so using this webinar as an example, I would say the situation is that a lot of people are applying to Chevening, but they are not being successful because they don't know what Chevening is about, or how to apply rightly. So that is the situation. So
Yeah.
then the task is that I contacted Joshua, who I know has been successful with Chevening, to come, share in a webinar, right? I mean, yeah,
No,
that's the
that's the
task, all right?
action. That's the action.
Okay, that's the action.
Yeah.
So what would that be the tax?
The task could now be how would I ensure that people within my community who have applied for the scholarship and
Hmm.
they've been unsuccessful, how can I make sure that I improve the success
Hmm.
rate, especially
Oh,
for
so
people
so
within my
so the
community?
tax is the how.
Yes.
Wow, amazing.
No, the
So
task,
now,
yes, the task is what, how do you want, what do you want, what do you need to do?
hmm. Okay,
Is
what
the
do you
what?
need to do?
Yes.
So in this case now, how do I like what do I need to do to be able to help people in my community or young people in Nigeria and Africa to get this scholarship? So that would be the
Yeah.
tax, right? So
Yes.
now, and I said, okay, now after thinking about this tax, I feel like webinar is a very good way because a lot of people will be able to watch it and then even watch the replay. And then I say, okay, the action now is contacting Joshua, who is a successful applicant, to come share in the webinar. And then the result is that some people watch it, and maybe one or two people eventually got the Chevening scholarship. Then maybe from there, I'll be able to share the lessons that, oh, if we actually do this, that means that if people are informed, right, then they'll be able to become successful. So,
Yeah.
oh wow, that's I think I should
That,
reapply for
that's
my Chevening now.
that's
All right.
that's just it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. That is actually even in interviews, I learned that it's good for people to use that tax star, approach, especially if you are trying to maybe go for interview or you're trying to narrate a story. So that is actually a very powerful, framework for people to be
Yeah.
able to use when applying for the Chevening. So, in writing the essay, do you think now that I know during your own time there might not be things like because this chat GBT, all this AI, they're relatively new, but I know plagiarism is something that is key when it comes
Mm.
to even the Chevening scholarship application. What are your thoughts about people just, telling chat GBT or Bard to write, the essay for them and just copying and pasting on the Chevening platform? What are your thoughts on that?
They are going to fail.
Hmm.
The reason why I say they are going to fail is that your story, nobody, AI cannot tell your story for you. And there's a way that you would write your story, even if your tenses are wrong, that when you write it, you know that I wrote this thing. You'll be able to correctly analyze what the situation was, what the task is, what was the approach, what was the action that you took, and the results. So when you're able to do it for yourself, if you scale the interview, sorry, if you scale the application process and you go for interview, it will not be difficult. Look at
Hmm.
me now narrating what I wrote in 2020 to you.
Yeah.
I wrote it myself. I didn't write it once. I didn't write it twice. I think I wrote it different times just to be sure that the story was compelling enough. That
Hmm.
I'm able to show the actions that I took in the right way possible. Not saying, oh, we did. I told you that we're about 74. 74 champions worked with me. I did not
Yeah.
say we. We did. I had to say I. I identified.
Hmm.
I
That's
trained.
powerful. Hmm.
Yeah. So all these things. I had a meeting with the Minister of Youth and Sports. I had a meeting with the UN Deputy Secretary General just to talk about this, where I made a presentation. So it's important that you write yourself. And when you write yourself, you would never forget because you did it yourself. And with all these AI tools, yes, they can help. They can help you probably in trying to create a structure for what you want to write,
Hmm.
or do it yourself.
Hmm.
Doing it yourself is about authenticity. It shows that you are a leader. You are not somebody that is going to take the um the easy way out. Because at the end of the day, the process, I always tell people that the process is as important as the destination.
Hmm.
So that time that you put into writing your essay, it will help you. Because if you win the scholarship, if you get to the UK, you are going to write essays.
Hmm.
And it's there are essays that it will not just be there will be group work. There will be, you would have 5,000 words essays. 15,000 words, 20,000 words for your dissertation. So which AI tool will help you to write a 20,000 word essay? So writing it yourself, taking yourself through that task is important. If you can use AI for getting your structure, I want to write an essay. How do I outline my structure? So it gives you like a framework, but you need to do the writing yourself because it's your experience. So I would encourage everyone, if you're applying, please don't use AI.
Hmm.
If you use AI to write anything, even to me, I would know. Because the why will I know? Because the structure or what the kind of question that I ask you and the way that I am expecting you to answer, the way AI will give it to you will be different. I was speaking to someone 2 days ago, and I was like, somebody sent me something, and I feel that it was written by AI. And the person said, how did you know? I said, because the task I gave and the action I got, they are two different things, and I did not understand. I remember the task, but the results, what the person showed me, is totally different. So please write your essays yourself. It's a test that you are not half baked. It's a test of showing that you are somebody who is worth investing. School fees is like 20,000 pounds. If you convert it into naira, that's going to about 20 million naira.
Hmm.
You get a stipend of maybe about 12,000, 13,000 pounds in a year. That's another 13 million. So give or take for an average person who gets his Chevening scholarship um, award, let's say give or take, the UK government is investing between 40 to 50 million on you for 1 year because they pay for your flight tickets, they pay for your medical insurance, everything they will pay for it, everything. So do the work. Show that you are worth investing in. Many shifting anomalies, they are presidents, they're amazing people. I meet them everywhere I go in Nigeria. Like you meet people and they'll tell you, even the founder of the owner of Channels TV is a
Channels
shifting.
TV, yeah. That's a popular story I've seen.
Amazing, amazing. A lot of people. I have friends who are doing amazing work, and they're Chevening scholars. So so that it won't be when we're having conversation. You've written your essay with Chat GPT. You cannot even hold conversation well.
Even I think what's the name of this guy? Maybe JJ or Mojua eventually also got the Chevening scholarship.
Yes, he did. He
There
did.
are a
Yeah.
lot of there are a lot of maybe we're going to come to that, especially coming to the the benefits of belonging to the Chevening scholarship network. And like you said, please don't use AI, because really, if
Yes.
somebody most likely when you write things with AI, there is usually the way AI structure things that is an AI that wrote this stuff. For example, towards the end, the conclusion of AI will usually start by doing this and this. You see that
Hmm.
this is like AI. So normally AI is supposed to assist you, not replace you. You
Yeah.
understand? So please,
Good.
when you are using, for example, you talks about the structure, maybe AI can help you with the structure. For example, like this star approach, now you could tell AI, maybe after writing your essay, just you write it yourself, then give AI, say, now, does this work? Does this fit with the star approach? AI will be able to tell you that, and then tell you, okay, these are the things that it, the AI thinks you should improve. Not that you should tell the AI to generate everything for you. So please, let us be careful, because Chevening will know, and that will lead
It's
to
not even about Chevening
confusion.
alone. It's also about you as a person. What are your own personal values?
Hmm.
Very important.
Hmm. That's actually very true. Your values plays a very, very leading role in this. So guys, so I would say that, what are the mistakes that you think someone should avoid? We've talked about not using AI, but is there any other thing? Is social media also contributing to this? Or is what are the mistakes that you think someone can how do I put it now? When you will not make you see, that's English again. Like to avoid. Thank you. See my English. What are the mistakes to kind of avoid? Yeah, quickly.
Okay, I would say first is making sure that you have the required 2 years work experience. Like I said earlier on, last year 70% of those who um did not make it through was because they did not have 2 years work experience. So why go through all that process of applying? It's not easy to apply for it and then you dump out because you don't have a 2 years work experience. The other thing I would also say is in your choice of institution and your courses, make sure that you are choosing courses that align. Don't say I want to read animal science in the University of Edinburgh, and then you want to go and read policy, educational policy and leadership at the University of Bristol, and then you want to read people, power, and participation at the University of Success. It already shows that you don't know what you are doing. So your course of study has to align. If you are going to be doing um, educational leadership in one, it has to link somewhere. Your next university should have something to do with education and maybe policy. The third university has to have that education in it too. There has to be that linkage because it shows that you really know what you are going for. For instance, when I applied for mine, I chose sustainable development at the University of Bradford. I chose that was my first choice. My second choice was sustainable development at the University of Sussex. And then my third choice was leadership in sustainable development at Queen Belfast University. So each and I had my reasons why first was I wanted to go to the universities. So I was looking out for courses that align. So if a university does not have the course that align to me, with I take them out. So some people are so interested in university and not interested in their course. So that's why you see
Hmm.
them choose the universities that they like and then pick any course that is similar.
Hmm.
Yeah, or something that they think that they can do. So I already identified the course. I knew I wanted to do sustainable development. So I now did a short list of universities that were offering sustainable development or an element of it. Yes, everybody wants to go to IDS or University of Sussex. Everybody wants to go, but that's not where I wanted to go first, and there was a reason why. So for every university you want to go, you also need to have a reason why you are going to that university. So most people just choose it. They say, it's the number one school of development in the world. That's why they want to go. It can be as simple as saying, I'm going to the University of London because I'm a Chelsea fan. Yeah, for me, when I was going to apply, I said one of the reasons why I'm going to the UK is hopefully I'll be able to go watch Arsenal play because I'm an Arsenal fan.
Hmm.
Even
Wow. You
though
wrote it in your application.
I never, I never, like when I got to the UK, then I saw that the tea was expensive. It was, it was, I think in the January when I was going to return back to Nigeria, that my wife was like, okay, let me take you, let's just go and see this, let's go and see how it looks like. And that was the closest to what I did. So
Yeah.
so all these they are important because it's not just you are not just going to go there to learn alone. You also want to be able to visit. So another thing to avoid is having people write for you. Very important.
Hmm.
Don't allow people to write for you because people cannot um when you make it through the interview, they will not be there to answer for you.
Hmm.
Another thing and that's leading up to saying also lying about your achievements. Don't take somebody's achievement and say it's your own.
Hmm.
Please do not do that. And another thing to avoid is using American English for a British application.
Yeah.
Most
Hmm.
people don't check it. Another thing to avoid is using informal tenses. So in your statements, you are using informal, and you know you have our formal and formal right, formal and informal writing. Do not use informal means of communication because this is an application. It's very important. We are so used to shorthands, short writings. This is a serious application, and you need to treat it seriously. It can be as simple as your capitalization. Make sure that you look at your tenses, that they will say dot your i's and cross your t's. Do all those things very well. Don't put, you're writing your course and you're putting, maybe you're trying to study um coaching, football coaching, for instance. You now put the f in small letter. It has to be capital because it's a course on its own. Going to study football coaching. And yeah, I've seen somebody who got the scholarship and what they went to learn is football management.
Hmm.
Yeah, so those
Maybe
I
that kind
think.
of yeah, maybe that kind of person now, the impact that he would probably tell as a story would be maybe coaching kids, so that they will be able to live a happy, or become better people tomorrow. Like there's a
Exactly.
guy, he didn't apply for Chevening, of course, at least I don't know about that, but what he does is he teaches kids in the community how to dance,
Mm,
and he uses dance to actually train them to become better people in the community, because the community, a lot of people, crimes and all of that, but the children that he has been training have been able to use dance, and he videos them, they become even popular online, and that is
amazing.
also helping the community. So that kind of person, he might want to go and study dancing
Yeah.
in as his masters. So impact is very, very important. So I just have two more questions, and then I think we should be able to call it a day.
Okay.
So yeah, so the first question I will ask is, what are the benefits of, eventually, if you, okay, let me, before I go to the benefit, you know after the Chevening scholarship, now there's, when you eventually get the scholarship, you now go for the interview, because I know
Yeah.
there are some people, like I said earlier, that it's at the interview stage that they are disqualified. So what are
Yeah.
your tips, to passing the interview in Nigeria or any other part of the world?
So the same approach that you use to get to the interview stage is not the approach that you would use to scale the interview stage.
Hmm.
So I would say for interviews that, one, you need to be confident in your own abilities. Very important. Secondly, you need to have read your essays again because that's the same question they are going to ask you. Basically, it's the same. But this time around, it won't be tell us how you uh, what does networking mean to you. They won't ask you that way. They could just say, "Oh, hi Joshua. You said in your networking, this is what you can you tell us again what you wrote about networking?" So imagine if I'd not read my
Okay.
essays again, or even if I've read my essays and I'm not the one that wrote the essay, how would I be able to say the same thing? Because if you cram it, it will show. They will know because this is in person. So that being confident in your own abilities is really very important. And then being able to be very articulate with in using the star method, because it's the same thing you have to still do. Use the star method. Avoid inconsistencies. If you've said something in your essay, when you are going to answer the question, please use one of the examples from your essay. And it's been a long time, so it's been like 3 to 6 months since your submission and the interview. Is there
Hmm.
another thing that has happened that you can use? So, but make sure you mention an example from your essay and probably something that has happened to you over the last 3 to 6 months. as part of it. It's really important because it shows that you are a dynamic person. It shows that you are a leader and that you are constantly learning and improving. And we know today's buzzword. It also shows that you are agile, thinking on your feet and the likes. Yeah. So that's basically what I would say during the essay. And then be convincing. Look at people in the eyes. Don't be scared of them. They want you to succeed. It's not nobody wants you to fail. They want you to succeed. They are just there to be sure that you are the right person.
Mm.
So have that at the back of your mind. They are not there to question. Sometimes it's also for you to clarify. So you've written something in your essay that they are curious about. They are inviting you to share. So your job as a leader is to convince, is to let people know why you wrote this. So they are not fighting with you. They are not there to stop you. Another thing could also be in the way you relate to them. When you are speaking, do you look them in the eyes? Are you talking more than they? Are you talking too much? Because it could get to that place whereby you are talking too much.
Hmm.
Sometimes it could be in the way that you respond to them. Are you answering the question, or you are just responding to what you heard in your head? So all these things is important. And when they tell you drink water, please, it's important. Drink that water because they will present water to you to drink water. Take your time and drop the cup. Nobody is going to harass you. And when they ask you a question, don't just jump and answer. Pause and respond. Because that way it shows that you have taken your time to think deep about that question. So for me, this is what I did. And I also tried to be very friendly. Um, so I wasn't there like it was life and death. I was there to show that this is me. I'm worth investing in. If you invest in me, you guys will benefit. I will benefit. You guys will benefit. And that's basically even after the interview, I shook hands with all of them. It wasn't just a light shake, it was a firm one. I'm remarkable. You cannot forget me. They escorted me down. We had a fantastic talk. They gave me their cards. Sent them an email after everything, thanking them. Thank you for the interview. I had fun. And so when I got the message that I was selected, I wasn't surprised that I was selected, even though it took so
Wow.
much time. I wasn't even expecting it. I can remember where I was, what clothes I was wearing that time.
Unforgettable experience.
I can't forget because I just when I saw it, I was wearing a white um shirt up and down. It was a short sleeve. I was sitting down at my table. I just came back, so I was writing something on my laptop. When I just looked at my phone and I saw it, my wife was in the living room. She was sitting down watching TV, and I was like, "Babe," she was like, "What?" I said, "I've just got it selected for Chevening." She was like, "What?" I said, "Yes." The next thing she just says that, "Please let's kneel down and thank God."
Wow.
I can't
Glory.
forget because you never. I can't forget. Yeah.
Mm. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's very, very encouraging. My last question before I just take a few questions that we have here is what are the benefits now that you have, gone to the UK, you've come back? What are the benefits that you've been, getting from the Chevening network? Because I know there's a network of alumni after you've graduated. What are the benefits of such network?
To be honest, yeah, when even before I returned to Nigeria in last year August, I had an event. Not me, my organization had an event. We wanted to, so the Nigerian Youth Employment Action Plan, which we worked on in 2020, we saw that the government was not implementing it. In 2021, they said they were going to start implementing. They didn't do anything. So in July of 2022, which was World Youth Skills Day, I reached out to the to the British High Commission, and I said, "This is happening. I'm a Chevening scholar, and it's important that access to decent work and economic growth for young Nigerians is important at this time. Can the British government support my organization in conducting a high level event that would bring the Minister of Youth and Sports, the Minister of Labor and Employment, and the Minister of Education to a
Hmm.
close event to talk about the implementation of the Nigerian Youth Employment Action Plan?" And the British High Commissioner then, Katrina Liang, she agreed. She hosted the event at her residence, sent
Wow.
out emails to the ministers. We didn't not I didn't have to do anything. And the only part my organization had to do was invite participants to the event. They did everything. So for me, it was big because yes, we are used to having events, running events with high commissions and the likes, but it was the first time that the British High Commission would be hosting an event. And the High Commissioner was there and she was like, "Why should we host?" And I had to give compelling reason why. And it was an amazing event. Um, Also, in fact, in May, for an organization I consult for, which is the Future Awards, we reached out to the British Council to host an event for winners of the Future Awards in May. And they said yes. This is the benefits of Chevening. And when you're part of the alumni community, you are exposed to other amazing people that you can work with. There's an annual grant that they give us to alumni to do work. You can tap into it. But to be very honest, the way that the scholarship opened my mind
Hmm.
to the work that my organization can do, I cannot quantify it. It really blew my mind. We went from being an unregistered youth movement that started in 2017 to getting registered in 2021. We got registered in 2021. I was able to learn. I knew how the British education system worked. I volunteered with a lot of NGOs during my time, a lot of charities in the UK during my time then. So I knew how they work. I was able to make friends with people who were top people in charities, and they are currently supporting the work of my organization. So it's not it's and if you remember when I said if you are applying for the scholarship because of yourself, you will not get it because the scholarship is an enabler, and it doesn't enable one person, it enables the community. So and it has like a lot of transformative power. And for me, I don't know what other scholarship platform would have given me and my organization the kind of leverage that we've had until date. And it's so funny, even until today, we with Chevening, we are still doing a lot of work. Sometimes when we have events, we would have representative from the Chevening community. They will come to the events. Like they are big people. They come to
Mm-hmm.
the event, they would speak. Sometimes the high commission too, they would have representative at your event. I'm like, how would I have been able to do this? How would I have been able to invite the embassy to come for my event? But with Chevening, this is possible. And I know that, to be honest, I know that if in the long run, my organization is trying to do something and we need the support of the UK government in Nigeria, the UK High Commission in Nigeria, they will support. Because for them is being able to also talk about you, that we invested in this person, and this person is using the UK education to to support work in Nigeria because it's also part of their own global development outlook. I No matter what people would say about international development or the UK, I know that as much as every government has their own self-interest, these people have shown that they believe in youth leadership. They've put their money where their mouth is. And I am using those learnings, all those things I've learned when I had when I was in the UK studying, to really support the work that my organization is doing currently. And you can't take that away from me. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing those useful insights, especially about. I know how strong the Chevening network is, even though I'm not part of it. In fact, it's one of the reasons that I believe anyone should apply. Apart from maybe impacting your community, it's gonna be an avenue for you to also grow. So I'm gonna take quick questions. So some of these questions, if they are answered, we'll just move to the next one. So this person says, this is not a question, but it says, Oni Leowo Isaac say, wow, currently I'm learning and relearning from this live webinar. Yeah, thanks to Joshua for that. And he Bukola Flora said, does this mean an HND holder can go for this master program directly without doing any course before it? Then if so, kindly share how to apply. Yeah, I think we've discussed this earlier. You can, if you have HND, like he said, he has got some people that have won, so you don't need to do any other course. You just go for the masters directly. Just apply on Chevening, and also apply for to the schools. And the way to apply is we're going to share the, you just search for Chevening scholarship, okay? But I'm gonna share the website. It's called chevening.org, okay? But for different countries, they have, for example, if you just search for Chevening Nigeria, Chevening Uganda, Chevening
Yeah.
Ghana, stuff like that, you'll be able to see the one for your country. But I will share the this day shortly, very soon. So yeah, there's a question from Faka. Your me says, sir, can you give us template of a good essay? Is this maybe you want to answer this question?
Template of a good essay is an essay that first you are getting your grammar right. And it's also following the STAR method, basically. I can't be able to share a template because that way it might affect your own writing, because if you see my templates or what I did, my own application, you might be, how would I put it, you might be intimidated. So, and then also, if you go online, I know that a lot of people they've shared templates, they've done, so you can look at them online. People will tell you, oh, do like this, but make sure that you follow use the star approach in your application. Once you get this, you use the star approach in your examples, ensuring that your sentences are well in order, they are well written, you are dotting your i's and crossing your t's. I think that you are good to go. It's the same, if the same thing you've done during your application process is also what you are going to do once you get in and you are writing essays in the university.
Yeah, I think some people also why some people also don't understand that. Like when I started then to apply, I think it was 2016. I was still even in school, so I just heard about it and I applied. So I applied, and then I thought that Chevening is going to provide me with the scholarship afterwards. I didn't really understand very well at the time. But now, the thing is, you have to apply for Chevening separately. Then you mentioned if you already have, your admission, it's even more positive, like according to them. But you need to apply to those schools directly yourself. So you
Yeah,
choose it, like Joshua has mentioned earlier, that he researched the schools that are aligned with his visions. So look at the schools that you want to apply for in the UK. So once the schools give you admission, add it to the Chevening scholarship that you have been awarded admission or you've got admission. But if you have not gotten admission, it doesn't stop you as well. You can still apply. Like you mentioned, there is a guy who got the Chevening scholarship but didn't get, through to the school. So make sure that you apply to the schools and then you also apply to Chevening scholarship. I think that's correct, Joshua.
Yeah, sure, that is.
All right. So the next one is Sir. This one is coming from Similolu. It says, Sir, is it compulsory to choose a course of study around leadership or choose it to have to, or those, okay, maybe this person has it, or does it have to align with your previous course of study, for instance, at BSc level?
All right, this is a very good question. No, you don't need to choose a course around leadership. What I said initially is that Chevening scholarship is for future leaders. So a leader is somebody who makes a difference in their community. It can be through sports, it can be through dance, it can be through medicine, it's through engineering, through charity, NGO, politics, name it. So, but you in your application, you need to be able to demonstrate that you are a leader, whether you're a leader in medicine, a future leader in medicine, in nursing, in artificial intelligence, and that you need the Chevening scholarship for a master's in, because if when you have masters, as you know, shows that you are a kind of a voice in your particular field, that you understand the rudiment of that field. So it doesn't have to be around leadership. Yes, your course of study technically should align with what you've studied in your BSc, because it's showing that you are trying to be a master in that area. But if that's not the case for you, for instance, my bachelor's was in cell biology and genetics. But before Chevening, I already had close to 4 or 5 years in community development, in sustainable development leadership. I had proven work experience working within the private sector around youth leadership, education, decent work. So applying for sustainable development as a master's is because that's the area I wanted to be a master. I wanted to focus on, and I had my work experience to back me. So you can either use your work experience to back you. So, for instance, if you read, let's say you read anatomy for your bachelor's, and you've been working, um, you've been working in comms for like 3 years. So you now want to do a master's in strategic communication. Your work experience would help you to be able to would serve as a justification, because it shows that you've been doing major work there. But if you are someone who, for instance, you read medicine in your bachelor's and you've been doing strategic communications, now you now say you want to go and study you want to go and study football coaching. How does that align? It shows that you don't know what you want to do. Then I've seen people who studied, like the person who studied football, for instance, they had experience that they've been doing recruitment, been working in their community, and they wanted to learn because the UK, all the top clubs in the world are in the UK. So it just made the right sense to say I want to go and study this in the UK. So you can either ensure that what you are studying in your masters relates to your BSc, or if that's not what's happening, make sure that your work experience and fits into what you're already doing in your masters, that you want to do your masters, or be convincing enough, because I know someone who, funny part, this person already had a masters and was coming for another master. So
Hmm.
the person had to be able to show why they needed another master's degree. Excuse me. They need to show why needed to show why they needed another master's degree. So you need to be able to prove that in your application, which I think is also, it can be a little bit dynamic if you don't know how to go about it. But if you have done a master's, so it means that you've done dissertation, you've done essays, so it will not be difficult for you to be able to explain why you need another master because you've done the experience. For instance, when I was doing my MSc, I had a colleague who had three masters. Where we were on was going to be our fourth masters. And when I saw it
Is the person from
first,
Ekiti? Because we Ekiti we like to study.
and the first, as she's amazing. What, like I was like, this lady. Sometimes we'll be having conversations and she's like, "Oh, just talk, just speak," and you two you'll be speaking. The day I knew, it's like, oh my god, if she's talking, I just keep quiet.
4 masters. Wow. That's incredible. All right. So the last question is this. This person said for the interview, will it be conducted basically, maybe physically, okay, basically in wherever someone stays, for instance, Nigeria, or will you be invited over to the UK? Thank you.
It will be in
That's coming
Nigeria.
from
It will be at
Bukola,
the
Flora.
Bukola, it will be in Nigeria. It would be so my for my own interview, I had it in Lagos.
Yeah,
Um, some people will be Abuja.
Abuja.
But then during with COVID, during my time, they also gave option for virtual or in person. But I
Mm.
don't know now. But I chose in person because anything can happen. What we have, the way MTN can do.
Yeah.
So those were all the things I thought about. Sometimes you may feel, oh, if I do virtual, I may have scripts, what to write, all those things. You may have prepared your notes and say, oh, virtual will be good. If NEPA take light, unko, or your laptop refuse to charge or something.
Mm.
So I chose in person, and it was good because I also had to choose a time whereby I chose a time whereby they are not too tired so I chose 10 a.m. so they are fresh out. They've not listened to a lot of people because all these things is important. You don't want to go there by 1 when they've just had lunch
Mm.
and they just want to get it over with, or by 3 p.m. when they want to go home and they are thinking of traffic. So having that in person was good. I met one guy. We in fact up until even when I up until I think January, we were still in conversation. He's not Nigerian, he's from Cameroon, and he will reach out to like, hey, how you doing? It was really good. So going in person was the game changer for me. So it will be in Nigeria. You would have the option to choose whether it's in Abuja or Lagos. I don't know if they also have for Enugu, but you have the option to choose. If there's opportunities for virtual, if that's what you want, you can also do that. But they won't invite you to the UK because you've not even scaled through. It's just an interview.
Yeah. It's just an interview, yeah. So it's when you are studying, right? When you've successfully passed the interview and everything, that's when you are invited to come to the UK to study. I think it's for 1 year, right?
Yeah, it's for a year. It's
So
for
one
1 year.
year. So last question. Sorry, this is going to be the last question because I think this is also important. It's part of the Chevening, that you have to come back to your country. So this person is saying that um, from your previous question, you said the speaker is out of the UK now. Does it mean someone doesn't have means of staying over there after graduation, or is it a matter of choice? Thank you. So,
All right. So what I would say to that, Bukola, is that when you um when you apply, you are being told that the UK is going to provide you with the scholarship will provide you with um a to and fro trip, all expense paid trip to the UK. So they will pay for your flight to the UK and your flight back to Nigeria. Remember, if you go through the application process, they would ask you what's your career plan. So as Chevening expects you to return back to Nigeria to either continue the work that you are doing or to start the new work that you told them you are going to be doing during your application process. So they are going to give you a return ticket back to Nigeria so that you can continue your work. So it's not by choice. Remember, I told you that this scholarship is a scholarship to contribute to the development of your country.
Mm,
It's not a scholarship to contribute to your own, to for yourself alone. So you definitely have to return. And if you choose not to, for instance, one, your stipends will not be paid. I don't even know how you're going to do it.
mm,
I don't know. But for Chevening, you are mandated to return back home. It might be difficult at first, but that's just it. So it's something that you've signed up to, that, oh, I'm going to return. And maybe when you're even getting closer to that time, you'll be wondering, oh, how would it be? How would everything be? There's also a support by Chevening to help you transition. They will support you to transition to the UK. They also help you to transition back to Nigeria because, hey, the work that you are doing is important. You've gotten the UK education. Coming to the UK for my master's, and I would say, it improved the way I started asking questions. I had scholars from different parts of the world. So when I returned to Nigeria, it was easy for me to be able to see things, places where I could make a difference. It was easier for me to know that I don't need to be doing too much work. Like, that part whereby you are spreading your wings everywhere. I
mhm,
learned focused thinking, like precision. What do you want to achieve? How do you want to go about it? Who is the team? Asking quality questions. There's this saying by a famous, or I can't remember his name. I think it was Einstein. I don't know who said it, or Thomas Edison. He said, if you give me 60 minutes to cut down a tree, I'll use 50 minutes to be no, no, no.
to
He said,
prepare, right?
no, 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 that's not it. I think it was,
Okay.
if you give me um 60 minutes to answer a question,
Mm,
I will use the first 50 minutes to analyze your question,
mm,
and the remaining 10 minutes to give you the answer. This was what the UK education system did to me. It
mm.
made me to start, I became more inquisitive, I became more analytic. I was, I like, no question is just a question. There's a reason why. So you have to be deep. You have to think about things 360-degree. How does all of these things apply? Where do I stand in the mix? Like, a lot of things changed about me just with this education system. And whatever my organization is doing right now is because of the backing of a UK education system.
Oh, thank you so much, Joshua. Because of your time, I mean, see, guys, you need to appreciate him. Please, if you got value from this webinar today, you need to appreciate him in the comment. Okay. Thank you so much, Joshua. And I know, like, with all the things he's been saying, that is really a busy person, but because of his love to impart people, that is why he's come here, and he's doing this for free. To be honest with you, this is value. Like, even personally, I've learned from this webinar. So if you know anybody who wants to apply for the Chevening scholarship, please share this video with the person, so that him or her can actually learn from it, because the results, from the star
Yeah.
approach now. The idea for me would be that one or two people have learned something from this, and you're able to eventually get the Chevening scholarship. And please don't wait. Start your if you have all the necessary requirement, start your application today. And it's scrolling on the screen, chevening.org, or just search for Chevening Nigeria, Chevening Ghana, wherever you're watching from. You'll see the qualifications and everything, even more details that you might need to know. So we want to say thank you so much, Joshua. We can see people are saying thank you very much, Sir Joshua Alade. God bless you, sir. So thank you so much. We really, really appreciate. And we hope that next time when we call you, like all these TV presenters will do, we hope that you answer our call.
By God's
Do you
grace.
have any final word, and how can people connect with you? Maybe you want to share your LinkedIn, or how can people connect with you? Uh, especially to learn more about the works that you do in your community.
Okay, so you could just Google me, Joshua Alade. You'll find me. I'm on LinkedIn, Joshua Alade. Instagram, Josh Alade. Just Google me. I'm sure I'll be one of the Joshua Alade that you would see first online. And just to say that as you leave this place, always remember that you are a person of value. Um, you might apply and you didn't get this scholarship. It doesn't say it's not a proof of who you are. It's just an invitation that you need to develop who you are. um in life, I don't believe that there's failure or there's success. I always believe that we only learn. We learn to be better. If if thing and you do well, you've learned how to do it better, so that when you do it, you are doing it again. You are not doing it from as a first time person, but more as someone who is becoming a master. So please believe in yourself. Keep praying for Nigeria. Don't stop the work that you are doing, and I hope that you have a happy life too.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Joshua. We'll see again on the other side. Guys, thank you so much for joining, and also for joining live. And if you're watching the replay, let us know that you're watching the replay as well in the comments, okay? So we'll see you some other time, and I wish you guys success in your Chevening application. And I pray in the name of Jesus that you get the scholarship. All right. So remember to
Amen.
put in the work. Yeah. So thank you so much, Joshua. We'll see on the other side. Right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Shola. All right, bye.
Yeah. Right.